So, how much do you know about the supernormal, or what they call the paranormal? Because I've been reading about it for about 2 years now, and it's been a fascinating discovery. As a scientist, to be like, oh, all this stuff is data. Some of it's anecdotal, yes, but it is overwhelmingly anecdotal. And this is finally a really impressive unsolved problem that probably is very, very important. And so I'd love to hear the books that you've discovered if this is something that you're into. I usually refer to it as the supernormal, by the way, because of Dr. Jeffrey Kripal. I interviewed him on my podcast, Select Files, a while ago, and he very much got me into this. And he said the paranormal doesn't define it correctly. That's about being outside of normal, which isn't such a thing. But supernormal is. It's something that is more different than normal, but is still a part of normal. And I think that applies to things like UFOs and poltergeists and creatures manifesting and all of that kind of stuff. And so I would recommend Dr. Jeffrey Kripal. His books are excellent. But today's book we're going to go over is The Eighth Tower by John Keel. Because if you don't know anything about this and you want a really readable version of it, The Eighth Tower is great. I don't think I agree with all of his reasoning about why some of this stuff is taking place, but the great part is he's a journalist and he's collecting the stories of what is taking place. And in this case, it is the anecdotes that matter more than anything else. You know, like Annie Dillard said, if you can't study the forest, study the trees. Once you study enough trees, then you've got it. And so I've learned more by reading a whole bunch of people's books and a whole bunch of people's anecdotes and starting to put the pieces together. So I might not agree with Keel's theory all the time, and he might not always put the footnotes in to support where this anecdote is coming from, but I do know from all my readings that what he's saying seems very, very true. And so what's great is he covers a lot of different fields, things like the sightings of monsters and stuff like that, UFOs, spiritual past life stuff and spiritual forces. Okay, good. Get off the vine, child. And so this is a very, very readable book that's an introduction to the supernormal. It was written quite a while ago. His famous book is The Mothman Prophecies, because he experienced a lot of this stuff in person, and that sounds like a great book. I haven't read it yet. The cool part about The Eighth Tower is that it collects a lot of the data that didn't make it into that book, and it's much more a higher level vision of what's going on here. So if you want to learn more about the supernormal, I would say The Eighth Tower. Let me know what you've read about this subject.